Welcome back, guys. Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna say it. This Alani Nu cotton candy energy drink. It tastes so good. But let's get into the juicy stuff. Let's get into what we actually came here for today. So over a year ago, my husband and I moved to the German countryside from the US because of his job. And I thought I knew exactly what I was getting myself into because I grew up moving around constantly. So I thought to myself, this would be no big deal because I'm so used to moving. I'm so used to change. This shouldn't be a drastic difference to me or impact. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was so wrong. This move humbled me in ways I didn't even know I could be humbled. So today in this video, I just want to share my honest experience, the good, the bad, the lonely, and the advice I wish someone had given me before we moved abroad ourselves. So if you're thinking about moving to Germany or moving abroad in general, this video is definitely for you. When we first found out we were moving here, I was so excited because I had dreamed of living abroad almost my entire life. It had always been something I wanted to do because I was fortunate enough when I was in college that I got to study abroad twice because I had some scholarships. So it gave me a little taste of what it could be like to live abroad, just be completely immersed in a new culture outside of the US. And so it was something that I really strived to do at least once in my life. And it was finally happening. Honestly, within a few weeks of living here, it hit me like a semi-truck. I felt completely lost, completely lonely, and completely homesick. And what shocked me the most was that I was actively living my dream, yet it felt like a nightmare. I did not transition well at all. I gained weight, my health declined, and I spent so much time just wishing I could go home. I missed my friends, I missed my family, my routine, my comfort foods, everything. And even though I had moved a lot growing up and within my adulthood as well, the distance felt different this time. When I moved around in my childhood and my adulthood, home was always a car ride or a short flight away. But now, a car ride isn't even an option. We're in completely different time zones. When they're waking up, I'm normally getting ready to go to bed, and the flights are long and expensive, and suddenly I was missing birthdays, holidays, milestones, all the little moments that make you feel connected to your friends and family. And that weighed on me way more than I expected. Getting emotional just thinking about it. And see, I come from a pretty big family. I am the oldest with 4 brothers, not including my in-laws, and there's some big age gaps. So I have a brother who's only like a year apart from me, but then I have a brother who's graduating high school. I have another brother who he's about to turn 21. Then I have another brother who's about to start high school. And my one brother has a baby and another one on the way. And some of my friends are getting married. And there's just a lot of life milestones and things happening back home that I'm missing out on because I can't afford to go home every single time. And I was not expecting to get teary-eyed today. Wow. I didn't realize how much it would impact me not being able to just get in my car and go home or book like a cheap quick flight to go home whenever I felt like it or there was something happening. I could just go home and it wasn't a big deal. Meanwhile, if I want to go home now, I have to plan it pretty much well in advance. It's going to take a full travel day and it's going to cost probably $1,000. I didn't think about the big picture moving abroad. Like when we found out it was happening and when it actually happened, I didn't think about how going home isn't really an option most of the time. I didn't think about certain comforts I would miss all the time. I didn't think about like certain job opportunities I would miss back home or anything like that. I was very naive about this whole move and looked at it from a perspective of rainbows and butterflies. And if I am completely 100% honest with you, moving abroad is not rainbows and butterflies. It is very hard. It is difficult to navigate. If you don't already have friends and family here, it can be very isolating. But believe me, there are good things about moving abroad, which I am going to get to. But let me get out of the emo-ness, okay? Let's get away from that a little bit. And let me get more into what it's actually like living in the German countryside now. After going into all that, here's how it is living in the German countryside. So we chose to live in the countryside because we wanted quietness and we wanted peace because my husband and I had never really had that before. And trust me, we got it. We got quiet and peace for sure. But it came with challenges that I didn't fully understand until we were living it. For instance, there's no train station within walking distance. Like, yes, there are some buses, but they only come very limitedly and they don't go to a lot of places. There's no grocery stores within walking distance. Besides, I do have a local butcher here, which is nice, but they're only open certain days of the week. And everything is about a 20-minute drive minimum. Actually, most places are 30+ minutes to go to if you want to go to like an actual town with things to do, shopping, etc. And there's a ton of yard work. We have a very decent sized yard at our rental home and we have to do it all on our own. Also, we are the only Americans that live in our small village. So sometimes it feels like we're the town's circus attraction or the town's personal entertainment. And mind you, we live in an area of Germany where there is a huge concentration of Americans. So it's completely normal to have like a ton of Americans living in your village or town or whatever. But the town that we chose to live in specifically, we are the only ones here. And the people are friendly, but in a distant way. So we get the polite like, hello, but that's usually it because my husband and I are we're more introverts than extroverts and we're still not fluent in German, unfortunately. We didn't exactly make it easy on ourselves in the beginning to meet people and meet our neighbors. I still struggle with this, but definitely more so in the beginning. I was constantly worried about messing up social norms or accidentally being rude because I didn't know something that was customary. So honestly, that fear alone kept me from trying to talk to people. But anyways, getting off topic, then there was the house itself here in the countryside. Mind you, my husband and I went from a 1-bedroom apartment that was like 600 square feet. We now live in a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, including a basement with a giant backyard and front yard. It was exciting in the beginning. Both of us were like, wow, we have never lived in a house this big. We're paying the same amount for this giant house as we did our 1-bedroom apartment. This is amazing. But what I didn't think about is we only had furniture for a 1-bedroom apartment and we're not made of money. So it has been over a year now and the house is just now feeling like a home. And we're still nowhere close to like fully furnishing this place. There's still so much I want to do here. And so that was really hard in the beginning as well and very overwhelming. And it made it hard to feel comfortable here. So all of this combined with living in the countryside and just moving abroad in general made my first year here incredibly difficult. But here's the thing. Somewhere along the way, something shifted in me. It wasn't one big epiphany or aha moment. It was a slow, gradual change. And I started to view this experience living abroad differently. I really began noticing the beauty that is all around me. The rolling hills, the sunsets, the flowers, the animals, the quiet, the charm. I've never lived anywhere like this before and it is genuinely stunning. Daily walks with my pupper dogs, Mr. Butter Dog, became my therapy. Seeing cows, chickens, sheep, horses, endless fields every day made me feel grounded in a way I never have before. Because I've never been surrounded and immersed in this much nature before. Because again, I'm used to living in like apartment complexes in a town. I'm not used to just being completely surrounded by nature. I've started gardening, which is something I never had the space to do in the US. I joined fitness classes. I pushed myself to go to the grocery store alone. I tried to socialize, even if it was awkward at first. And slowly, I stopped relying on my husband as my only form of comfort. After a while, like I said, our house really started to feel like a home, especially after a few thrift finds, which is one of my favorite things to do here now, which if you've seen some of my videos, you know thrifting is a big part of my life now. One of the biggest changes that changed my experience here, changed my mindset here is I started taking care of myself. Since this kind of mindset shift in the way I'm looking at this whole experience, I've lost about 20 pounds. I've gotten healthier, I've gotten happier, I've become more social, and I've stopped hiding inside wishing I was back home. That is one of the worst things you can do for yourself, is isolating yourself within the house and never leaving the house, never never going outside of your comfort zone, you're never gonna get comfortable here and you're never gonna feel like this is home if you don't get out of your house. And see, because I work from home, it was very easy for me to isolate myself and shut myself out from the world. So luckily, if you do have a job that's outside of your home, that's one natural way for you to put yourself out there. But if you are someone like me who works from home, it is so easy to just shut yourself away, which is exactly what I did for almost the first full year here. And it was miserable and it was so unhealthy for me. Don't get me wrong, I still miss my friends and family. I still miss my comfort foods, some of my favorite restaurants, what have you. I still miss those things and I still want those things. But I've learned to stay connected through calls, FaceTime. We send each other care packages now all the time. I can't tell you how many times I have teared up receiving a care package from someone back home, because honestly, just receiving a few snacks or a letter or something from home, it can help so much. So if you know someone who's living abroad, send them a care package, because believe me, it'll make their day. And if they're feeling any kind of homesick, it'll definitely help alleviate that a little bit. But also, I remind myself that this experience is temporary. I'm not always going to be 4,500 miles away from home. So now, instead of dreading being here, I'm grateful. I'm experiencing something that most people will never get to experience in their whole life. I'm learning new skills. I'm learning new ways of life. There's so many things that I'm learning and picking up on that I'm 1000% gonna take back to the US. I'm traveling more than I ever imagined possible, and I'm living in a place that has genuinely changed me for the better. So you're probably like, Peyton, okay, this is like a lot of experience. Where's the advice part? Okay, we're getting into that now. So here is some advice as someone who's been living abroad for over a year now. Learn German or whatever the language is where you are moving as early as possible. Like, start learning it before you even go there. And if you're a natural extrovert, this will probably be way easier for you, because honestly, putting yourself in social situations, going to grocery stores, going to cafes, trying to order stuff in the language, you're gonna learn so much faster than just trying to use Duolingo or something. Another word of advice, which is kind of what I just said actually, is to put yourself out there, even if it's uncomfortable. As someone who's an introvert, putting myself out there is very unnatural for me. Like, don't get me wrong, I put myself out there all the time on camera, but I'm technically alone right now. So to me, it's completely different, but I naturally don't put myself out there, but you have to do it. You're not gonna make friends if you don't put yourself out there. And that is something I've had to learn the hard way. Another word of advice, get out of the house regularly. Again, like I said, if you're someone like me who works from home, it's very easy to just not leave the house for days unless you need to go get groceries. From personal experience, isolation makes everything 10 times worse. Another thing is to find local spots, like a local butcher, a local cafe, and start going there regularly. It's gonna feel cozy and it's gonna feel nice, and you're supporting local business, so even better. Especially if this is only temporary for you, like if you're only living here for a little bit or whatever, travel as much as you possibly can. When we first moved here, we didn't really travel the first few months just because we were, one, finding a house, then moving into our house, trying to decorate our house. So we spent a lot of months just not really traveling. But now we are trying to travel as much as possible. Again, especially if this is temporary for you, you're never gonna get another experience to travel like this again, because traveling in Europe is just so easy and so affordable most of the time. I kind of mentioned this earlier, but care packages help with homesickness so much. A box of familiar snacks can help your sanity. And I honestly love sending care packages to my friends and family to be like, hey, these are some of my favorite snacks I've been loving here in Germany, and I'd love to hear what you think about them. I love surprising them with little packages every now and again, especially if you're in Germany, because it is a huge cultural thing here. But go on walks, explore your surroundings, let the countryside become familiar. And honestly, it's so good for your physical health and your mental health to go on walks. So it's a win-win-win situation. Last but not least, give yourself some grace. This is a huge change in your life. Adjusting is gonna take time. Sometimes more time than you think, especially, like I said, if you're moving to a brand new country where you know no one. Now, if you have friends and family here, then that's definitely a plus, and at least you have someone to rely on or to feel comfortable with. But if you're moving somewhere completely new, give yourself some grace because it is going to be a big adjustment. And don't beat yourself up too much if you don't feel automatically immersed and at home and fluent in the language. It's gonna take time. So that's my honest experience after 1 year living in the German countryside. It's actually been more than a year. It wasn't easy. In fact, this has been one of the hardest transitions of my life, but it has also been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. So if you're planning on moving abroad, know that it's okay if it's not perfect or not exactly what you dreamed it to be. It's okay if you struggle. It's okay if it takes time, but it can also change you in ways you never expected. So if you want more videos about life in Germany, countryside living, moving abroad, definitely let me know in the comments, because believe me, I have plenty more to share. But I love you guys, and I'll see you next Sunday.